everybody. I'm an actress. I'm here with Dr. Claire. I play a doctor on this place. It's called YouTube. Okay, so today, very exciting. We taught you everything you need to know about retinols and retinoids. So today we're going to talk about how about when your derm prescribed you 0.025 tretinoin, how do you know when to increase your percentage of retinoid? Because there's different percentages. So how do we know when to go up and what does that look like? Everybody that writes to me says that regardless of whether they've used retinol before or anything, and as we know, as we taught you, they're different molecules, so they don't translate to each other. But dermatologists seem to always prescribe at 0.025 when 0.05 is the one that the studies have been on. So why does everyone prescribe 0.025?
I think that the volume of patients calling back that they're irritated is a concern.
So they're starting lower.
And what people do, dermatologists are very rushed, especially if they take insurance, because they don't make a whole lot of money. So what they'll do is they'll prescribe the lowest strength because they think that people aren't going to listen. They're not going to explain. I used to have a cheat sheet in my old office that would basically go through my second page. It was like a huge list of how to use it,
wow.
Which is, for a lot of people, it's not important. If you have very oily or acne prone skin, you might be able to get away straight off the gate using 0.05% every night. But that's a very small percentage of patients.
Yeah.
The majority of patients have to acclimate, and a lot of patients, including myself, cannot use tretinoin every single night at any percentage. Yeah. So you're better off going weaker and getting people adjusted and buying into the tretinoin game, which is a preventative game long term. Because if you use this for 2 weeks and your skin starts to freak out, you're going to throw it in the trash.
I've also heard from so many people that they've been prescribed a retinoid, prescribed tretinoin, and their dermatologist does not tell them how to use it at all. So then they turn to TikTok, they turn to online, and people say, here we are. And people say, you know, Jillian, I just got prescribed this from my derm. They didn't say anything. They just wrote the prescription. So I went home, I slathered it all over like a thick cream on my face. I woke up, my skin is ruined. This ruined me. I threw it out.
And you get really excited about new stuff. Think about it, you get a new shirt, you want to put it on. You get a new retinoid, you're like, more is better, and more is not better.
Someone just prescribed 0.025. Teach us how to use 0.025.
So there are people that I start at 0.025 when they're very concerned and they tell me that they have sensitive skin. The majority of patients who are asking me for anti-aging, I just give them the 0.05 because I want them to work up to it. And this is controversial, but I just say do a sandwich technique. Moisturizer, retinoid, moisturizer a couple times a week if you're concerned, and then increase it as tolerable.
But talk about how much you should be using
of the retinoid. It's a pea-size amount, avoiding, this is the area right around here that tends to get flaky and dry.
Yes.
So I take it, dot, rub it in at an even thin layer. It almost should feel like you're barely using any of it.
When I use it, it's like there's nothing on my fingertips, nothing.
But and don't worry, it's fine.
It's still getting in there.
And you want to make sure your skin isn't moist. You didn't just shower, you didn't just work out. It's not a good idea to put it on that kind of skin. It should be dry and a tiny amount, and you should be doing it at bedtime because tretinoin is deactivated by the sunlight. So that's how you start. If you decide that you did start at 0.025, you should not throw it out based on our YouTube video. Keep doing your 0.025%. Once you've run out of the tube and you want to bump it up, next time maybe you go to 0.05, but expect that you might get a little bit of exfoliation and a little bit of purging. Purging is when you break out a little bit from it, which is normal in the introduction stage to a retinoid or when you're going to a higher strength. If you're doing great at 0.05 every night, do you need to go to 0.1%?
Great question, do we?
You don't unless you have acne or very oily skin. If you're experiencing no light exfoliation, no irritation, then you can go up in strength. But you really need to make sure that your expectations are reasonable. These are not products to make your skin look glowy and beautiful. These are anti-aging products. That means that a small amount has been shown that over years of use, you can decrease fine lines and improve the texture of your skin, help with pigmentation, help with scarring. All these things can be helped at a very small level since it, again, is still skincare and it's limited. But if you're looking for an immediate glow, a red carpet glow, you're thinking about a light acid, glycolic acid, PHA, lactic acid, or you're thinking about a great moisturizer or serum that can kind of make your skin look very bright and glowy. That is not a retinoid. This is a long-term, something that you're buying into, just like sunscreen. You're going to do it a little bit less important than sunscreen, but still important. And you're going to be doing this for years to come. And when you're 60 years old, you're going to look better, hopefully, than your peers that haven't been doing it and also have been practicing good sun protection and sunscreen.
Absolutely. Let's talk just for a minute about, so you recommended when somebody first starts with retinoid to do the sandwich technique, which I love. I recommend that too, which is moisturizer, then a pea-sized amount of your retinoid, and then more moisturizer. Now, say they wake up, glowing, beautiful skin, no light exfoliation, they don't seem to be irritated. Now, does somebody decrease the amount of moisturizer?
Right. So always better. And that's, I think, the same concept I was saying why dermatologists are giving the lowest strength. Because we would rather that you start with a light level and say, my skin's doing nothing. I'm not seeing exfoliation. I'm not seeing irritation. That is not the goal. The goal is not to do a sandwich technique with the lowest percentage. It is to use 0.05% every night, pure, without moisturizer, sandwiched with moisturizer after once the tretinoin has dried is fine. But you're not supposed to be diluting it with moisturizer.
People are very confused about this point. I get a lot of pushback on this. No, not pushback, but people say, oh my God, Jillian, I had no idea that tretinoin was supposed to be used without moisturizer. I thought the whole point is that you put it on and then you slather moisturizer right on top. And they say, I've never heard to use this without moisturizer.
So you don't need the moisturizer. The moisturizer is based on your skin. And if you just feel that you get too dry in the morning from the tretinoin, you can opt for a moisturizer.
It's just for irritation, correct?
Right. And just like reduction of dryness.
But I sometimes, if I'm feeling dry, I will put on my tretinoin and I wait 20 minutes and then I put moisturizer. You give the tretinoin some time to absorb, right?
Yeah, the truth is a lot of this I based on how do you look in the morning.
Yes, totally.
I could put on a pound of moisturizer and a bit of tretinoin. I will be flaky in the morning.
Really?
My skin
you
is
will?
sensitive. But there are patients that if they come in and they're like, oh, I have to stop, especially this happens in acne patients because we use this for acne. And I can tell the teenagers that come in that are not doing their retinoid because they look totally normal and they have clogged pores. And I say to them, how are you using it? And what they're doing is they started with the sandwich technique with the low strength and they never brought themselves up. So what you're asking is exactly right. You want to try, your goal is to use it pure every night. Wait a little, put some moisturizer on top. That's what you're really going to see the Tret 0.05%. If you're diluting it with the sandwich technique and you're not seeing any light exfoliation and you're not declogged at all, then you do want to increase it.
So to clarify, the goal is to see, you're saying exfoliation. Dr. Claire means a little bit of light flaking in the morning, that when you either wash your face or cover it up with moisturizer, it kind of goes away, right? So it's not burning, red, itchy, peely
very
skin.
Good point. If your skin looks worse, which happens to me often when I push my retinoid, my skin looks so dry and my makeup cakes on.
Well, you have combo skin and I have extremely oily skin, so you know, everybody's skin is different. If I use too much tretinoin and no moisturizer, I will wake up with flakes, but no redness, no peeling. If anything, it looks like it should look from using the retinoid.
Some people say that they wake up in the morning and they look okay, but the minute they apply anything, even a regular bland moisturizer, their skin burns. That's the tretinoin. If you have incorporated a new product, it's likely the tretinoin because it's making your skin more sensitive to everything. It's actually slightly thinning out the skin because it's causing this deep cell renewal. So that's also why you burn more with a retinoid. You have to be careful in the sun. You need to use sunscreen with it because your skin is slightly thinner because you're constantly sloughing off that top layer of dead skin cells.
Can we jump into this for 1 second? A comment that I get a lot is, do not use tretinoin long term, it thins the skin.
So it's kind of like Botox. It sounds like a bad thing to thin your skin, but if you stop tretinoin, your skin just regenerates and becomes the same that it was going to be. It's just keeping that top layer sloughing off. That's why it's thinner.
That's what we mean
and that is unsafe if you're not going to use it with sunscreen, because then you're going to burn and cause more anti-aging. And the same when I relate that with Botox is that a lot of times with Botox I tell people you're going to thin the muscle with time and need to use less Botox or less frequent injections or see better results. But that's not a dangerous thing that you thin the muscle. You could stop Botox and bring back the muscle, just like when you do a bicep curl and you're using your bicep.
Concept.
Gets bigger, gets smaller. None of this is dangerous.
We're going to wrap up. So what are some last minute tips about using retinoid?
Like I said, sunscreen, be careful with hot wax if you're waxing. Your skin is thinner. Even wax in general, just need to be careful. We've shown these videos that you could put a little barrier cream. So if you know that you're going to wax your eyebrows for the week leading up, I would just put a thin layer of Aquaphor over your brow and just make sure that when that tretinoin goes all over your face, it might just get diluted in there so that it's less likely to cause harm.
And also, when you see yourself getting some pimple purges and some irritation, don't stop. Don't stop because your skin looks worse. You kind of have to just power through for a little bit. It's going to look a little worse before
and don't
it looks
stop
better.
on and off. I've also had this comment. It's summer, so I went off my retinoid. No, it took us 3 months to get you to where we liked. Don't go off of it. You can reduce the frequency.
Yes, tell everybody what you do in the winter.
In the winter, I go down to twice a week, or I use a retinol that's a little bit
use retinol usually, right?
Retinaldehyde, the Medic 8, I like a lot.
Retinaldehyde, which is a step below retinoid. So don't stop if you have to go down in percentage because, you know, I don't know.
That's better to go down in frequency and percentage, and then if you really need to do what I do sometimes and switch over to a retinaldehyde, you're going to have to acclimate back to your tretinoin. But if that's all you could do, it's better than nothing. And sometimes I do have to do that in the winter because I'm walking into work and my staff is saying, oh my gosh, you look crazy. So we don't want that.
No, we don't want that. Okay, let us know what other questions you have about retinoids. We could talk about them all day if you want us to. So we will see you next time. Bye.